Mickey Cavill. This guy again. Hello and welcome to another episode of With Enough Prep Time. I'm your host, the Nerdman, and today it is Hot Takes Tuesdays. And of course, I have come up with a flaming hot. This is one of the hottest hot takes I've had so far. I've got a panel together that I don't know what they're gonna think once I give this hot take, but we'll see. Philosophical Pickle, my co-host as per usual. My other co-host, JG Shaolin, who nearly walked off from my last one. He actually texted me later on in the evening to tell me our friendship had terminated, but we've worked things out since. And of course, Ashley, aka the Widow, here with us today for Hot Takes Tuesdays. Guys, any words before anything?
As usual, I'm excited to get into this, man.
I'm nervous.
I am nervous as well. I have no idea what blasphemy you're gonna come up with this time.
I don't know if at 10 a.m. I'm ready to process what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's early for us in America, Nerdman. You gotta be kind to us.
Well, I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's gonna divide some people, but others, it may gain an ally. Let's see. All right, so so I'm gonna reveal the hot take now. Jesse Eisenberg.
I knew it. I
freaking
knew it.
Was a better villain than Loki in Avengers 1. That is my truth. He was a better villain. Jesse Eisenberg.
Hey, what's up, Michelle?
Lex Luthor.
Wow.
Absolutely.
America, the world. This guy's really starting to test my patience. This guy right here. So
I know whatever. Yep, and I know what you're all thinking. Right?
So I was like, this nigga must be joking, man. I don't know where he's going with this.
So
Charlie Murphy is better than Jesse Eisenberg.
Charlie
Explain
Murphy
yourself,
is better than Jesse Eisenberg.
Wow.
Look, say Thanos, but okay.
I've got a lot of arguments here, right? And I'm gonna get into them, as the time goes on. But do you want me to start with my opening? I'll start with my opening salvo. Okay, this is my opening statement. So,
by all means,
look, there is.
You're a son of a bitch. Continue.
Look, there is a lot of. First of all, one of the things that reminded me of this is that Loki is obviously coming out this week, and I believe maybe Ashley, myself, will be doing a watch along with whoever's available. So the new Loki show is coming out. I'm looking forward to it. Now, I'm not going to be absurd. I'm not going to say a character that was in one movie is better than Loki across from Thor, all the way to Avengers Endgame. But in terms of just Avengers 1 and what he does in Avengers 1, I believe Jesse Eisenberg is the superior villain. Okay? And I'm going to go into why. First of all, I think there's a lot of things that are misunderstood about Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. I think people assume about villains that need to like them. Like you should actually, I think it's a more recent thing where everyone's doing these villains these days where you understand their motivation. They've got like some, thing where, they have some tragic past that leads to, why they've become this particular bad guy. This happens with Lex Luthor as well, but he is the type of bad guy in Batman v Superman that is designed for you to be hateable. He's a villain that you're supposed to want to punch in the face, that is supposed to irritate the shit out of you. And in that, he succeeds. He's a Lex Luthor, or a villain that actually you hate. And you hate so much that I think people confuse that hate with actually he's not good. He's actually really good because you hate him. And that's what villains, some of the best villains are supposed to do, make you actually dislike them. Secondly, I want to put some caveats. I think the writing of Lex Luthor is better than the performance. Now, having said that, I am still going to defend Jesse Eisenberg on this. Yes, he probably wasn't the best casting for that role, but he wasn't either the worst. And I would say the exact same for the actor who plays Loki. He's not the best possible, Tom Hiddleston isn't the best possible guy for Loki, but he certainly isn't like the worst either. I'll say this as well. In Thor, the first Thor movie, he is much more of a compelling, serious villain who does get things done. But even in Thor 1 and going on to Avengers, he doesn't really achieve much as a villain. He doesn't, in terms of what he actually sets out to do. In Avengers 1, most of the time he makes jokes, but other than that, he's getting bodied by the Avengers. He's never a serious villain. He's never like somebody who you think is going to get things done. And he certainly isn't intimidating or even a proper obstacle for the Avengers. So in that sense, he completely fails and misses the mark as the villain of the Avengers. The Avengers 1 needed a slightly bigger villain to really, face people like Hulk. Hulk just goes in there and just throws him about. You're a puny god. It's a great moment, but like at the same time, this isn't a villain that really should. He could have been a secondary villain or something like that. But as the main villain, he fails spectacularly. You can't take him seriously. He's more of a joke. Lex Luthor actually does a lot of damage in Batman v Superman, and ultimately is victorious. Plus, you hate him. Now, I've got some more things that I want to bring up in general about the character, because I know they're going to hit me hard with this character. I already see it coming at some of the arguments, but that is my opening. I'll let you respond.
I can't believe before this you were saying like, I don't know who's going to be on my side. I don't know who's going to. What are you crazy? You knew that we were all going to hate you for this. Vilify you. You're a villain.
I don't know.
You're evil. JG, what do you think about this?
Well, first and foremost, I am a DC fan and a DC apologist. But Nerdman, you are out of your freaking mind with this.
Yes,
you
3
are
against
out
1.
of your mind. You are literally turning me into an MCU fan by the day. I swear to God. Oh my God, Jesse Eisenberg, really a better villain than Loki. Oh my God. Okay,
in Avengers, make sure that you realize I'm saying
even if you narrow it down to Avengers, Jesse Eisenberg can't see Loki as a villain. He just can't. I mean, you look at Jesse Eisenberg, right? He has a flawed plan. What is his plan? Let's show the world that Superman is evil, but you're not showing the world that Superman is evil, right? You're putting things in place for a plan that's really not even fleshed out, right? And he's basically Jesse Eisenberg from the Social Network and just making him crazy. That's basically all he's doing. And it makes no freaking sense to me at all. He's not even Lex Luthor. He's Lex Luthor Jr. So he's a made-up character that makes no sense. Loki actually is, even though I don't like the humanized aspect of the villains in the MCU, it makes sense for what they are doing, right? You feel sorry for him. He's a man who feels like he's owed something. And so he's going to do whatever he can to make sure he gets what's rightfully his. And even though he has some instances where he's kind of, you don't know what side he's on, it's still that thing in the back of your mind, like he's got something up his sleeves. no matter what he does. And that's what a villain is. They always have something up their sleeve.
What is the worst thing he does in Avengers? Like, what is the worst singular act of villainy that he is able to
kills the heart of the movie?
Thank you.
He kills. Hey, you forgot someone else. His name was Phil.
What does he kill? Phil Coulson. So he killed Phil Coulson, who's still basically alive anyway. So, like, really, it's just, the stakes aren't even like.
It was on a non-canon show on ABC.
What do you mean it's on a non-canon show?
Man, hold on, man. You said let's stick to the Avengers. You said let's stick to the Avengers. Well, let's not go to the other thing.
All right.
It's non-canon.
No, okay.
So
all right.
It depends on who you talk to, but yeah, you can basically make up if it's canon or not.
No.
All right. I swear I saw Coulson
based on Kevin Feige's words. It's not canon.
Oh, and Kevin Feige's words. All right, carry on. Anyway, sorry. I'm listening.
He killed Coulson. He dropped Thor from the ship. He unleashed the Hulk. He murdered. Well, we didn't see it, but he probably murdered hundreds, if not thousands, of people in New York by unleashing aliens on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did Eisenberg do?
Exactly.
Wait a second. Wait. I'm just listening to you for a moment.
Loki's motivations, to me, are a lot more. I understand where he's coming from, because it all stems from his relationship with his brother that causes him then to make this deal with Thanos and to use the Tesseract, right? To me, this version of Lex Luthor, I don't get his jealousy for Superman. I feel like it's very rushed in this movie. So just the basic, whose motivations to me are clear and concise in the film, just from the beginning. It's Loki's. And unfortunately, he does have that set up from a previous film that this version of Lex Luthor does not have. But I still think that within the story, they could have explained that more than what they really did. And he had a lot of outlandish things that he said, Lex Luthor. But overall, no. But that's just my first point that I want to make. But
okay,
that's it.
So let me understand just to make clear what you're saying. You're saying that the worst thing that Loki did, we have to assume because it was never shown really on screen. So it was just like the aliens are there, that they take over the city, and we have to assume that. No, he
didn't say that.
I'm saying that's a fair assumption.
No, the worst thing that he actually did was kill Phil Coulson. That was the
nature of his big thing of his
Phil
villainy.
Coulson had to die for the Avengers to become this team.
Okay, and what had Phil Coulson, in terms of like a film character, right? What had Phil Coulson done to, like, specifically to make us care that much about him by that time in the film?
He's the one
in comparison to the senator that Jesse Eisenberg kills in Batman v Superman. Now, you can say whatever you want about that character. I don't mind. But as of that film, as of BvS, she was more of a central character in that film, more speaking lines. She, was more of a character in that film than how would you? I don't think Coulson was that big a part of it. He had a few lines here and there.
I would say in the previous films that we saw him in, he was
character.
But when we get to Avengers, he does have a bigger part. Yes, but this is he does have a bigger part in the Avengers. He is the one that kind of he's working in service of Nick Fury, but without Phil Coulson, he would not. He's the one that's recruiting them, bringing them into the fold, making this team.
Isn't that more Sam Jackson? Isn't that more Sam Jackson's Nick Fury?
Is the leader, and he is the one that says, I have this idea. It's his idea, right? But who is the one out here in the field, building this relationship with these heroes, who's out there actively recruiting them?
You got to know Coulson through multiple years.
Honestly, like, I'm not being funny here. I don't think Coulson became a big character until after his death, really. No, I don't think people really thought about Phil Coulson as a thing.
In the movie Avengers, you care about him because
Okay.
Because of what is happening in the film. You know, you see we get to know that why he loves Captain America. He has these cards that these Captain America cards. He wants them signed. He's like a fanboy. He becomes a SHIELD agent based off these ideas that he grew up learning about Captain America.
He's a cute little character, but
no,
he's not like
a cute
somebody.
Character. He's a serious character. No, he's not cute.
I don't think he's a serious. I think and by the way, I think we're going way off the thing. We're going way off the path. I don't want to like stick to this. I'm just saying it's fine. That was that. I don't think it had a major impact. I don't think anyone was like,
Yeah, it does. It did.
He's a nice, likable character. In the moment that
likable character.
The moment that Nick Fury throws the bloody cards on the table and says, "Guess he never got you to sign these." That is such a great moment. And that's because of Loki's actions.
It's not a great moment, but let's not.
Your heroes are scattered.
I'm not going to be finessed by you and distracted.
Your heroes are scattered.
I'm not going to be distracted into a corner about.
No.
He's
an
Nerdman.
I know what you're saying.
You're so
he was somebody.
Listen, the reason why we're explaining these things to you about Phil Coulson is because you're asking.
You're trying to make it sound worse when he died than when he did. I was in the cinema watching this fucking character, and I didn't even know who he was. I could not tell you his name.
Dude, Coulson even wanted an autograph from Captain America, I believe. And that was sad, dude. It's like, damn, you kill him off. And how manipulative Loki was through the whole time. Loki knows that he can't defeat any of these guys one-on-one. So he uses what his best gifts were, his gift of manipulation, illusions. He does all that to force the Avengers to go against each other so he can achieve his goal, as opposed to Jesse Eisenberg, who wants to prove that Superman is such an evil person, but we don't understand why.
Superman.
No, okay.
He's Coulson a bigger character than Superman.
What?
You could equate him to Jimmy Olsen in that movie, which is a non-character. Okay. That's the most important person that Lex kills.
No, Lex kills Superman. And he kills.
No, he doesn't.
Indirectly kills.
Lex does not
indirectly kills
Superman. Kills himself.
All right, then Loki doesn't kill all the people in the city.
Finish my point.
Loki doesn't kill all the people in the city.
No, with his plans. See, Loki plans things along the way.
Oh,
this is what Jesse Eisenberg did. Hold on there, man. This is what Jesse Eisenberg did as Lex Luthor, right?
I'm not going to do this because
you want to know who's the better villain. I'm telling you why Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg, was not a great villain, right? Did he do some villainous type of things? Yes, but you put Superman with the center and all that stuff. He blows up the little building or whatever. That's great. So you're doing all that to prove that Superman is evil. Then why do you bring out Doomsday? It makes no sense. No sense at all. You're achieving your goal already by.
He wasn't. No, but that's not what he was doing. He was doing it to show that everywhere Superman goes, there is death and destruction. That's what he was trying to do.
Superman was evil and then he was bad. He framed Superman in this film, and then
he wasn't
framing.
And then you tried to blackmail the greatest detective in DC, Batman, which made no sense.
He did.
He wasn't trying to frame.
You watched a whole other movie.
No, he wasn't trying to frame Superman in the Senate bombing, right? He was basically, or the Capitol building bombing.
What would you call it, man?
Was it? What was it? Sorry?
What would you call it?
I was saying that he was trying to. Essentially, that part of his plan was basically to. No, I'm not finessing you because we're going into areas that I don't even want to go into. But you're asking me to explain this thing. He was basically trying to show that everywhere Superman goes, there's like death and destruction, and he was trying to make Superman doubt even himself. That was the whole thing, the whole issue of what he was doing in that thing. He wanted Superman himself to doubt himself, like that by bombing the Senate. But also, he wanted to get rid of all of those people who knew he had imported the kryptonite. It was like a double plan. So it's basically get Superman to doubt himself, get another situation where Superman's part of a big disaster, while also killing off all at once every single person who knew about his plans with the kryptonite. That was the thing he was doing in that bombing. So again, it's that it was showing this kind of mastermind strategy of being able to do various things at various, multiple things within a particular scenario. Added to that, you've also reminded me again of the lines that Lex Luthor uses throughout the film, which is one of the things that I wanted to bring up. So, for instance, when he's talking to the Senator June, right, and she's just about to go to the hearing, he says, "You're going to be on the hot seat in there, Junebug." And what does he mean by that? Let me ask you. You're going to be you're going to be on the hot seat in there, Junebug.
That is a not so subtle thing. If you're about to blow up.
Well, I know that's exactly
right. Okay. All right. So again, if you look at the dialogue of Lex Luthor all through the film, it's not bad.
How is that a good line?
So is that not a good line? Is that not a good line? That she's about to blow up. She's about to be blown up in the place, and he says, "It's a very predictable line to say."
Why would he say that though?
Blow up. It's not predictable.
Yes,
why would he say that to her?
Because he's always have a double meaning. So he's saying you're going to be in the hot seat in there because he's actually talking about the hearings that they're having and saying that you didn't want to support a deterrent for Superman. So he's saying, hey, you're going to be in the hot seat in there. So it means something specific to her, but actually he's using he's actually mocking her at the same time by saying, no, actually you're fucking going to die. You're going to die in there. And
I do that right when he said it.
When he said it.
Yeah, we're going to go into it. We're going to go into it because I'm going to give you another one. But all through the film, if you look at his dialogue, the way this dialogue is written of Lex Luthor, it has always multiple meanings. And you think, okay, how would an intellectual, how would an actual modern day genius, like he's supposed to be from the comics, actually act and think and talk? And he talks exactly like that. So I'm going to ask you another one. All right, here we go. So he says at one point,
burden with glorious purpose. Remember that.
No. Okay, that's a great line. So you don't need to use a silver bullet, but if you forge one, you don't need to depend on the kindness of monsters. What are you referring to?
Superman. It's the opposite of subtle. It's hitting you over the head with what he says. He has to explain it. He has to hold your hand.
Let me say it again. I'm going to ask you one more time. You don't need to use a silver bullet, but if you forge one, you don't need to depend on the kindness of monsters. What is Lex Luthor referring to? What reference is he making?
The Wolfman. He's saying you don't need a silver bullet to kill the Wolfman.
The Wolfman. Yeah?
Yes.
Anybody else? Any other?
I mean, that sounds good
that's
to me.
literally what the silver bullet means.
Superman. Yeah.
But he's referring to Superman.
You don't have to use drastic measures to get your point across, basically. It's
okay. All right. Good. That's good. All right.
Nerdman, I've been pretty reserved here, and I got a lot to say. Just let me know when
I'm gonna
destroy you.
Like always, Nerdman.
I'm gonna let you say it.
Points, but
I'm gonna let you say it after this.
Just because you speak loud doesn't mean you're right, Nerdman.
Did you hear that?
Well, did he quote an old movie? Did he quote a better movie?
It's not just quoting an old movie. What I'm saying is there are references in this movie that he's constantly using, whether it be to science, whether it be to literature, whether it be to a number of different other things that people it goes over their head, and he's using it because, again, of his intellect, and he's constantly being able to. I'm gonna explain this argument a little bit more after, but what I'm saying is the fact that people miss all this stuff means that they're missing some of what is making him such a great character and such a modern day take on a genius.
Well, so Nerdman, maybe I can admit that I missed a few of his lines, but it's because he's acting so poorly and he's speaking so fast. It's hard to follow his ass. Now,
that is true.
Let me do what I do. I'm going to lay out Lex Luthor's plan, okay? And I'm going to do it condescendingly so my argument looks better. But this is his plan.
He's going to tell us the movie.
He's going to kill his plan. And I'm being genuine here. Correct me if I'm wrong at any point. I'm simplifying it to
I'm
make my
going to
argument
let you
look better.
Speak now. I've been speaking for a long time, so I'm going to let you go.
He
go.
He kills people in, was it Africa? What country was it?
Mm-hmm.
He kills people in Africa with special made Lex Luthor bullets. It's proven, and then burns their bodies to blame Superman that he killed them. Okay, we've talked ad nauseum about how stupid that is, that they're going to find the bullets in the body. He sticks a Jolly Rancher in a man's mouth after playing basketball. Then he has a senator look at a jar of his piss before he blows her up with a paraplegic who's disgruntled with Superman, so that Superman would give up hope, then make him fly away. Then he lures him to the top of a building where he shows him pictures of his kidnapped mom, drops Lois off of a building so that Superman would come, captures his mom, then lures him to fight Batman, and then combines his blood with Kryptonian water to create Doomsday to kill Superman. His plan, when you just lay it out simply, is fucking ridiculous. Loki's plan is, I have a staff. I hate the planet. I hate my brother. Let's destroy Earth. Let's fight. It's simple. Yeah. Silly. Yeah. Loki's not a great villain, but he is good. He's decent. Villain. Lex Luthor is garbage, and his performance is trash.
I want to add on to that too, but go ahead,
please.
Because I'm forgetting a bunch of stuff. I've only seen the movie twice.
I was gonna say one thing about the piss and about like it's funny. I know. I was gonna
Granny sweet tea.
There's a lot to what you said, and I'll say this, that a lot of the plan is comic book bullshit. You have to like suspend disbelief, and I think there are things within, and I don't want to go into other MCU movies, but there are things within other MCU movies that that expect you to suspend your disbelief much more than that, and things within other comic book movies that expect you to suspend your disbelief more than that, not just MCU stuff. So. To me, all right, like the bullets thing, I've already explained, right? Like on another stream. I'll explain again for the sake of the viewers. This happened in Africa, right?
Here we go.
This happened under a government that was run by a terrorist group that Lex Luthor was probably, like Lex Luthor, or, being very powerful as he is, probably can be in touch with. He could have easily got, and I'm not saying they explained this in the film, but just as an example of how this could work, he could have got them to say that autopsy meant anything. He could have got them to take the bullets out. He could have paid the African, whatever, because it's easily corrupt. You can just pay them, right, just to say whatever they want and to make it look like those bodies were simply burnt and charred, right? So that idea that, just because, they would have found the bullets in the bodies doesn't really hold weight. It was bodies in a different country. They were getting that news secondhand. And clearly you see that Lex Luthor is manipulating the situation by that woman who was there in Kenya as well with I think it was Kenya, or it was either Kenya or a fictional African country, I can't remember, but that woman was there who he was paying to also make the story into something else. So clearly he was shaping the narrative of events. So if he was shaping the narrative of events on that level, he could have been shaping the narrative of events in terms of the autopsy and its results as well. Right,
but so you're projecting something that's not in the movie. They didn't explain that.
Fair enough.
It was sloppily done, and he was so sloppy with his plan. He let a bullet get lodged in Lois Lane's diary.
Wait. He didn't let a bullet. How's he going to control that? He's not fucking God. He wasn't there. There were other people
sloppy. She got one of his bullets.
But look,
he's not a genius, right?
What I'm saying is, my point by this philosophical pickle is it's not a plot hole. That's the point. People try and make it out like it's a plot hole because
it's just stupid.
There's no way people could think that. There's explanations that you could and clearly the film even is suggestive of that by the fact that Lex Luthor seems to be shaping the narrative of these events on almost every single level, right? Including this woman who goes and basically lies as to what happened in front of the hearing. Right. So I dismiss that. That's not a plot hole. A plot hole is something that is completely inconsistent with the logic of the movie that you're presented with. And it isn't inconsistent with the logic of the movie.
Wait, did he pay that woman to do that? I thought she just did that because she thought it was Superman.
He paid.
She was paid.
I don't remember. I've only seen the movie a few times.
I've seen it 10 times.
It's so tedious and hard to watch. Genuinely.
And by the way, actually, you gave the movie a B. If I'm not the extended,
I gave
the extended edition.
Yeah,
okay, let's just make sure we know that.
Wow.
It's a B minus. It's a B minus now. It was a B before. Let me talk about the piss. Just one last second.
Okay, no, you've spoken enough.
All right, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Ashley, get him.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, when we're talking about Loki, like Pickle said, his motivations, what he was doing in the film. Yes, it was a very simple story, but sometimes simple works. Lex Luthor, his whole plan was to get Batman to do this, but I don't understand why he didn't like Superman. Like, what was his issues with Superman? Loki is very menacing. The things that he does to try to, he unleashes the Hulk, in the film, which is a big moment. He gets inside of the mind of Bruce Banner. He kills Phil Coulson, right? And then the way that he makes his brother feel throughout this whole film, because he does these things because he wants to destroy Earth, because he wants to hurt his brother. And we see that, and we see, how he gets his way and throughout this film and destroys these people who are trying to come together and be a team, and they can't because of the things that Loki is doing in the movie. It's only now later that we find out that things with Loki are bullshit. Him being mind controlled. But what Loki did in this movie, you can't take it away. He's menacing. His plan is well thought out, through the whole film.
I don't think it's that well thought out, though, Ashley.
I want to pick you back off of that because I haven't even talked about Loki very much.
I'm sorry, guys, because there's.
I want you.
Obviously, exactly like there's three of you against me, so I do apologize if I speak too much.
Bring up your points about what doesn't work with Loki. And then, I need to hear your exact, after Pickle, your exact things that Loki does in this film. So then I can respond to you. That's just my basic, the basic point here. Okay. When it comes to
fundamentally, the number one thing is acting and believability. I think it's an intangible thing that Eisenberg's Lex just gets wrong. We all know the red capes are coming. Like we can all, that's a meme, whatever. He has so many lines like that I can't even remember where he's twitching, that it's so irritating to watch. It is so ridiculous. His performance is so out of left field when he shakes hand with Superman. He's like, "Oh, you don't want to get in a fight with that guy. Oh, he's fucking Superman." Like, it's so ridiculous. It's trying to be serious, but then it's like comical. It's so bad. Loki, on the other hand, an ant has no quarrel with a boot. I'm burdened with glorious purpose. That scene where he's kneel and he makes the people kneel. He's like, in the end, you'll all kneel. Not to men like you, there are no men like me. So many. He's quotable. He's memorable. That scene where he tells Black Widow, he tells her, he's vicious. He's like, I'm gonna kill you after you watch me fucking bash Clint's head open. Then I will fucking destroy you. I will kill you. He unleashes the Hulk. He has such great chemistry with Tony and Black Widow and all the heroes. Eisenberg doesn't, when he's on screen with Clark, they don't have a chemistry. You don't feel like they're even in the same set. Loki has like a.
Wait, who did you say he's got chemistry with?
He had a great rapport with Black Widow and Tony. That scene in the Stark Tower when he's like,
no, I just wanted to hear. I didn't know.
What do I have?
And Nick Fury. And Nick Fury.
We have a whole Nick Fury, Ant, Boot. With Thor when he's talking to Thor on the mountain, dude. His rapport with the heroes was the number one thing you have to do is affect the heroes. I think he affects the heroes, and it's more fun to watch him with the heroes than Eisenberg with Batman and Superman. You don't want to see them together on screen. I don't give a fuck when they're together on screen because I didn't care about it. And his plan was so confusing. You have to literally stop and explain it to people to make it make sense. Yes, it's a little more intellectual than Loki's. It is a little deeper. He has some better lines. But Loki overall more memorable, better impact on the story, more quotable. The acting is better, and he wasn't a goddamn meme for 2 hours. Your villain is a meme, and he's borderline terrible. That's not hyperbole. He's really, really bad.
Whoa, Jesse Eisenberg left Luthor was better than Avengers Loki. No, sorry, Nerdman. I'm a huge Snyder fan, but Jesse was miscast. He was decent in the BvS rooftop scene, but overall, I think he was miscast. All right, so let me
miscast. I just want to say to Supervisor, I think he made, as an actor, he made bad choices. He was like, "Oh, everybody loved me in Social Network, so I'm just going to do that, but amp it to to the 9th degree." I feel like if he went in a different direction with the Lex Luthor, I think he just made the wrong choices as an actor. So, I mean, I don't necessarily believe it might have been a miscast, but it was definitely a misstep on Jesse Eisenberg and Zack Snyder's doing, in my opinion.
I think you've made some very good points. Unfortunately, I don't have an eidetic memory like Lex Luthor. So I'm going to try and slowly try and go through these points. But I'll say this. You asked me, a very, very good question, which was, what was my problem with Loki in the Avengers? And why would I say that he wasn't that great a villain in comparison with Lex Luthor? What my ultimate point is, that is on paper, what Lex Luthor does and what he achieves as a villain, and the fact that he's so unlikable, he makes himself unlikable because of his performance. People are confusing that with him actually doing a bad performance. But in the moment, I believe he is that character. I don't believe that, he's somehow acting. He's in the moment and he is that character. He's got a certain amount of psychological, I'm not going to say depth, but I'll say that there's some psychological things that are going on with him that I think are very interesting. So first of all, he's obviously a very, very intelligent person, a genius, right?
I can't tell from the movie.
On top of that, I think
Tell me how. Tell me how. How's he a genius in the movie?
I think again, if you look at the references and the way he actually speaks, right, you can see that this guy has a vast amount of knowledge, which he's able to, put off at the drop of a hat. Plus, he's, within the film itself, he's figured out everything. He's somebody who's 5 steps ahead of everyone. Clearly, in the movie, he's able to,
that's why you got a stolen.
Wait. He did anyway. I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to be distracted from this point because I need to get to Loki. All right. So what it seems to me that they were trying to present is a character who is both sociopathic, has narcissistic personality disorder, and is somewhat autistic. I know that's a lot to deal with, but I think if you look at what Lex Luthor, again, an interesting take on what Lex Luthor might be in the real world, right? Which is what they're trying to establish this whole universe to be. I think that's it's better than just a plain and this is what I'm going to say about Loki. It's a very kind of it's a paper thin, uninteresting, unchallenging version of this character. They haven't really thought about what this character might really be or what he might, it's just essentially a few bits better than a mustache twiddling, villain. All he does is he makes some, funny jokes. He has some plans that, for the most part, they do go right, but he doesn't do anything devastating to anybody in the movie. Okay, he kills Coulson, right? But that's about the end of that's the end of his villainy, right? He doesn't actually achieve that much by himself, right? Or as somebody who's thought this through. So let's see. All right, he unleashes the Hulk by what? By leaving the staff he leaves the staff in the with the Tesseract in the room, and everybody starts fighting over the staff. That's one of the things.
I got a rebuttal for that. But go ahead.
That's one of the things
unleashed in that moment, though. By the way,
I know Hulk isn't unleashed in that moment, but I wanted to say that you're saying that was part of his villainy. Well, was it really? I mean, it's just the staff is in the room.
I'm not saying that moment.
So okay, so
because that is not necessary.
Okay.
It's there because they captured him but he allowed them to capture him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the initial thing is that the initial thing is that this conflict is supposed to be part of his plan, but it really wasn't, as you've mentioned.
No, it was.
That's not really.
His plan was to be captured.
His plan was to be captured to unleash the Hulk.
To unleash the Hulk, right?
Right.
And that was the plan, right? That was the plan.
Okay.
And then, as a result, these other things started to happen.
What happens as a result? The Hulk gets to fight Thor,
which causes
as a result the Hulk
this discourse. But all of that is a result of Loki.
The Hulk gets
just like
to
you're
fight
talking
Thor.
about.
He gives us a great fight. He gives us
Loki. It leads to a great action scene, but in terms of the consequences of what actually happened there, it's not that much. It really isn't. He unleashes the Hulk. So what? How was that helping the grander scheme of his plan? Really, it doesn't. It was only there. It was only there. It was only there.
Division and the divide.
Wait, but let me finish because it was only there in the film to serve the purpose of creating a situation where you could have an action scene, and that's fine. But it really wasn't part of any kind of overall plan that makes him this devious great villain.
Wait, I gotta clip that and do the the fucking Kirby because
part of your
Ashley, I gotta get him on this because he said that scene was purely to make that Lex literally captures Clark's mom just so we can get the warehouse scene. No other reason. No other reason.
Okay.
So like he does things that makes action scenes happen too, but guess what? It doesn't make sense in the movie that they fight. Lex shouldn't even have been in the movie, period. He's not even needed in the movie. Loki was needed to bring the heroes together.
What we're talking about, I'm trying to identify what is the most evil thing and what is the most devious thing that actually
we've told you.
Loki does in this movie. And you told me one unleashing the Hulk and causing the death of Phil Coulson. And I'm saying that what he did by unleashing the Hulk had no real consequences for the story other than to make a great action scene. What Lex Luthor does by killing the senator, by blowing up that whole thing, the building or whatever. So he blows up the building. What he does, as I told you, is part of a multi-layered strategy where you figure out, yes, he's trying to like make sure that these disasters follow Superman. He's trying to kill everybody that knows about the kryptonite situation. He's trying to kill everybody who knows about that. So he has these multiple reasons that he's actually doing it. It's effective and it's fucking dastardly and evil. Again, with what he does with Lois and on the helipad, yes, he's doing it just to set up an action scene. But effectively, what he's doing is fucking much more dastardly and, it's just fucking evil. I don't see that viciousness at all in Loki. All through the film, he's more of a jokester. Finally, he releases Doomsday, right? Which definitely has consequences because it actually fucking kills Superman in the end.
Can I say?
And in doing that, he succeeds as a villain. I'm not saying yay. Just saying.
We talk about the things that Loki did. What does he do in the beginning of the movie? He comes in.
He also manipulates Batman, by the way.
He kills people. He destroys the shield base, right? He kills people there, right?
Yeah.
I forgot that opening scene.
He kills Phil Coulson. He mind controls Hawkeye. He opens a wormhole.
He mind controls Hawkeye to
and
do
unleashes aliens on New York and causes the Battle of New York. Kills people. People are dying. Destruction. All of these things. He's, in that scene where he's telling people to kneel, he's tormenting and hurting people there.
But he doesn't do anything to them. He just tells them to kneel and says, "Oh, you know,
he hurts
you're in a better situation." He's actually quoting Dostoevsky, by the way, which is interesting. But he's like, "You're in a better situation because, hey, you know, that's what human beings should be like." Free will basically makes you suffer. He says free will makes you suffer, but he doesn't do anything to these people. So it's like he's not a vicious, hateful character like Lex Luthor. Look what he did to Dr. As a villain.
I mean, he mind controls these. I can't hear now.
Okay, go on. He mind controls him too.
Can you go back? I don't know if it's me, but I don't hear you. Do you all hear him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, well, I can hear you.
Okay. Now I can. Maybe it was something with my audio. Okay. What did you say? Nerdman, I'm sorry.
No, continue. I was just saying that. But
I want to hear your. I'm sorry.
No, I can't remember now.
Well, I love the fact that Lex adds a death of Superman into a story about the Dark Knight Returns and a Justice League setup movie. It's fantastic. Him unleashing Doomsday isn't a good thing, Nerdman. It's a terrible thing. He actually leads to a worse villain. It's good that Superman died in his second movie, that he's a villain in his second movie because of Lex. Lex actually makes that movie fail on every facet. That's why the movie is bad. It is on the back of a terrible villain with a terrible plan, and everything that he enacts makes that movie worse.
I think that if he would have stuck to if they didn't bring the Doomsday stuff in, I think I could have forgiven a lot of it. If his plan would have been to bring Batman and you know, kind of, I mean, you know, similar to the Zemo thing, to get these two people, but they don't have that history of friendship, but to bring these two people to be on opposing sides, to get into Batman's head, you know, I feel like they should have just stuck to that. I'm just saying I could have forgiven some of the things. I couldn't forgive the acting choices that he made, but for the overall story for him as a villain, I feel like it would have been more of a success if he would have just been trying to conquer and divide and make these two individuals fight. And then when his plan started to unravel, then Doomsday comes in. That's dumb. Like it just becomes too busy and too much, and it doesn't make sense overall. Like I can get on board with the Superman and the Batman stuff, right? From a villain standpoint, you know, from this is Lex Luthor and this is his plan. But then it goes off the rails a bit, and it's so convoluted, and it's such a crazy plan. Like Pickle explained it, and half of the stuff I remembered all these things, but half of it, and I've seen this movie 10 times. And some of his plan is you forget it because there's so many steps along the way. And I don't think there's a lot of missteps. It's convoluted.
I don't think there's a lot of missteps, but I'm gonna go to JG Shaolin because he hasn't spoken for a while, and then I'm gonna try and respond again. I'm trying to hold in the important things that you're saying.
I want to give you a compliment after JG goes.
You know?
Well, first off, man, I think the problem is with Lex Luthor, we're assuming that he was planning on doing this. We're assuming he was planning on doing that, right? Because nothing really was explained. With Loki, yeah, he does little manipulative things, but it's explained later on. It's like, okay, that makes sense for why he's doing this. It makes sense for why he's doing that. But to Pickle's thing about the Batman stealing the kryptonite, we can assume that Lex Luthor allowed it to happen so that he can go against Superman and kill him.
Right, exactly.
It's just in its but again, we're assuming that's what's going to happen. But think about this, Nerdman. If Batman
didn't steal it? Okay, go on.
Okay, Batman kills Superman, right?
Yeah.
He can't kill Doomsday, so Doomsday's running around on the loose.
That's not true. Let's say that Doomsday was still in his birthing chamber, so you don't know. He could have just.
So you're assuming
he could have just.
You're assuming that Lex Luthor would have been able to control Doomsday. Like you're assuming that.
That's a great point, JG. I've brought it up before. Nerdman can't fight it.
No. Wait a second. I'm not going to have that because he was in the birthing liquid or whatever the fuck the egg basically that he was being birthed from. So for all we know, he could have stopped the process. It's like essentially aborted. He could have aborted Doomsday at that point. We do not know that
but
Doomsday
when they're fighting,
necessarily would have been born.
Nerdman,
now when they're fighting
on the battlefield, if Doomsday would have won, he would have destroyed the planet.
Exactly.
And that makes no sense for this Lex Luthor.
Because remember, Lex Luthor's plan was
but I know where he's going with this,
Batman
JG.
to fight each
We can't let him do this.
Probably kill each other.
Because we've had this conversation 3 times.
Because if his plan is for Batman and Superman to fight, then somebody's getting killed, or they're going to kill each other. Ms. Wallace. So Doomsday is still on the list.
The whole country's in a state of panic.
And let's say Superman actually kills Batman or whatever. Or
no. I'm going to leave this stream if you bring this up, Nerdman. I don't care about other Lex Luthors. I care about the Lex Luthor in this movie. Yes, Lex Luthor from the comics and the shows would make sense.
Nerdman, you can't justify
Lex doesn't make sense.
The argument
he wants to destroy the planet.
BvS versus Avengers. You're bringing up some other.
You made me
outside of it. That makes no sense.
I'm going to go into what Lex Luthor has traditionally done in the comics. You're saying it's against the character of Lex Luthor. And I'm going to explain why.
Lexi Jr., Jolly Rancher Lex basketball playing Lex.
This isn't Lex Jr. First of all, the Lex Luthor in
Snyder
this...
said himself that was Lex Jr. What are you talking about?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what fucking Snyder said. He didn't even write the fucking thing.
So it doesn't matter.
Look. Lex Luthor in this film, right, is a version of Lex Luthor. Whether he has a father named Lex, he's named Lex as well. He is Lex fucking Luthor. Okay? This Lex Luthor Jr. bullshit, miss me with it. Essentially,
I'll he's junior because he's a young guy.
He's a young guy. Lex Luthor, right, has been all ages in the comics. He's been the same age as Superman. He's been younger than Superman. He's been older than Superman. He's been the same in the movies and TV shows. It's just like the Joker. It's just like any other DC villain. There are different variations of these characters. The specific one Lex Luthor that is in this movie is a Lex Luthor that you would find in a comic called Superman Birthright. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, well, he's just a Superman from Superman 368. Wait. No, I'm just going to say this. It's a Superman from this particular thing. Like, you can't, we should stick to the Lex Luthor that's been mainly throughout the history of Superman. Well, the difference is that this is a Lex Luthor that is from one of the top 10 comics of Superman of all time. It's one of the favorite Superman comics of all times, and it's one of the favorite versions of Lex Luthor that has ever been in the comics. And in this, he is a very hateful, almost autistic genius who happens to have psychopathic tendencies, right? And is like his hatred for Superman is so much that he'd be willing to do anything, sacrifice anything to destroy him, even if it be the world. The fact of Superman's existence is an affront to him because he thinks he is the greatest thing in the world. And the fact that Superman keeps on taking the limelight from him, his sense of grandeur, his sense of that I am the best, when everyone's talking about Superman and all his feats and how he's, discussing him and how great a person he is. That is an affront to Lex Luthor that he cannot have. And he uses the media, he uses everything he can to dirty and sully Superman's name. And finally, he's willing to destroy it all. And that isn't the only time Lex Luthor has done that in the comics either. Lex Luthor frequently, because of his narcissism, is willing to destroy anything, including the Earth and the planet and every living thing. So, if it means that he can destroy Superman as well. And I am going to use this clip after, but I'm going to let you respond to that.
But it's not believable, Nerdman. This Lex Luthor, the writing, the acting, everything that we see, he's kind of evil. But you don't get that. The only character development he gets in the whole movie
kind of evil
is the rooftop scene where he says, "Daddy, God didn't save me from Daddy's fist." It is so cringy. It is so try hard. It's literally like
a better
it's
scene
literally
than anything of Loki.
It's like Zack Snyder. It's like Zack Snyder and who's the other guy that wrote this?
It's Chris Terrio. Chris Terrio, who's a good writer, and David S. Goyer, who's a bad writer. Chris Terrio wrote Justice League, and he wrote an Oscar-winning screenplay. Yes, he's a good writer. What do you want to say?
My point is, because I forgot where I was going with that. Yes, maybe there's one Lex Luthor like this in the comics, but that doesn't mean I want to see it on screen.
Not one Lex Luthor. It's one of the greatest versions of Lex Luthor.
That's your opinion.
If you go and look for the top 10 Superman graphic novels of all time, if Superman Birthright is not in there, I will fucking cut off my finger. Dude,
so is this Nerdman? I have a question, because anything that I've read with Lex Luthor, that's not who he is. So you're talking about an Elseworld Lex Luthor?
No,
is that what you're talking about?
No, you're talking about niche Lex Luthor.
Wait, it's not
niche. Out of hundreds of dozens of iterations. Dozens of iterations. There might be two that are like this fucking neurotic fucking loser with long red hair. Doesn't mean I want to see it. There's also a comic where Batman pisses himself. That doesn't mean I want to see Batman piss himself on screen. Just because they do it in the comics doesn't mean that I want to see it on screen. It doesn't work for this movie. The tone that they set for this movie, Nerdman, is serious. It's grounded, and he simply is not. And you could say he's disconnected from reality, but he belongs more in a bad MCU movie. He is a comedy. He's more suited to be the Riddler. And then also, I remember when the movie was coming out, he said that this is not his fault, but this is just something like outside of the movie. But he was like, the scene where I become bald is gonna move you to tears, and like they just shave his head. I guess they cut the scene where he loses his hair, but that was also very anticlimactic for me. I thought he was gonna Superman would make him lose his hair. They just shave it. But dude, the way when he's my last thing I'll say, and then I'm going to give you a compliment, actually.
Oh, okay.
That scene in the end, his last scene, where he's going ding 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 ding, ding 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 ding, and a motherfucking booger is coming out of his nose. He's going ding 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 ding, ding 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 ding. It is so cringy, and it ruins everything that he built. Now, Nerdman, I will say that scene. And the red capes are coming, and him twitching, going, ooh, honey, hoo, and like Adam Sandler and sticking a Jolly Rancher in that guy's mouth is worse than anything Loki does. Even if his highs were, let's say that his highs were hypothetically higher, his lows are way lower. But I will say, this is absolutely the best that you've ever argued a bullshit opinion. You've done a great job. You almost make me want to side with you, because I'm just fucking tired of talking about Lex Luthor. So you're actually doing a great job. You have not lost this argument. I'll say that.
No, come on, guys. You guys have done really fantastic. This is, I'll tell everyone after about some of the reason for this. But anyway, look, the point is, I'm just showing some kind of evidence of this kind of Lex Luthor has been in the comics. Now, again, I hate those arguments where people go, oh, Lex Luthor and, Superman killed somebody in issue 1567. But when it's the actual one of the best ever comics of this is always in the top 3, top 5 comics of Superman of all time, then I think that's it was a swing and maybe a swing and a miss, but at least you can't criticize them for trying to use that version of Lex Luthor. It was a modern take on Lex Luthor, a younger take. They must have seen The Dark Knight. They saw, oh, well, Jack Nicholson was old, but Heath Ledger was younger. Maybe we should try a younger Lex Luthor as well. It fits more with the way modern cinema is working, having younger villains, and all that kind of stuff. So, again, I can see definitely why they did this. And as you said, the highs of Lex Luthor, the dialogue that he has in this movie that is great, is fucking fantastic. And it's to a point where I can honestly say I don't even understand some of the references he made. I had to look them up after and find out, that's what he fucking meant. It perhaps, and I don't mean this as an offense to you or anybody else, but I think perhaps it was a writer doing too much. Maybe he should have simplified some of the stuff, right? So to make it more coherent for a general kind of audience. But in general, I thought it was a big swing, and I liked a lot of what they gave us in this Lex Luthor. I agree with you 150% on the ding, 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 ding stuff. Some of his crazy twitching. Jesse Eisenberg probably wasn't the best person to cast for this role. I could think of other people who could have made this material a little bit more sinister. But in the end, for the most part, most of the way through the film, I was on board with Lex Luthor. And definitely when he was on that helipad, he was firing on all cylinders. That was a great scene, and you can break down every single thing he says. Like, anyway, I've said about the references already.
Please share my screen, Nerdman. Will you share my screen real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
He looks fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry. He looks so fucking stupid. You can't take me seriously.
You haven't given me enough points because you're telling me why you believe that this Lex Luthor is better than Loki.
He's barely spoken about Loki.
Exactly.
He's been defending Lex the whole time.
You haven't given me
because I'll be honest.
I feel like you're just using buzzwords and you're not telling me, showing me what does Loki do.
Mic drop. Shots fired.
Tell me what Loki does.
Don't fail the city,
Nerdman. Because you're not.
All right, look. Here's the problem with Loki. I've said this before. He is a very paint by numbers. He's a very paint by numbers villain. I honestly don't think Tom Hiddleston is that great an actor. First of all, I don't think he's a fantastic actor. He makes the character lack any kind of intimidation. He gets body, just constantly body. I don't see him doing anything where he's actually wins over, apart from like releasing the Hulk. I said apart from releasing the Hulk. Well, it's hard to kind of give any examples really, because there's at least I remember. Like, you remember, no matter what you want to say about it, you remember the different parts of what Lex Luthor actually did.
But what I'm saying is,
no, that's bullshit.
To make a great wait. I need you to give me examples. I'm
gonna give you an example, right? I'm gonna say that every fight that he has against the Avengers in this movie, that's not vague. He basically loses. And it shows that he's unintimidating. He's the wrong villain for this scenario.
In the beginning, when he loses, that's intentional. He wants to be captured. He intentionally.
So what about when the Hulk and Thor did it to him?
Ashley, he can't give examples because he doesn't pay attention to these movies. He's admitted it. He doesn't watch the MCU. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
How can you make an argument when you don't even know what he does and you don't even remember them? Like, how
I remember what he does. I remember what he does, and it's just not that impressive.
And new Nerdman, Loki
he makes some jokes throughout the movie.
What does Loki do that makes you not?
He doesn't make many jokes.
He doesn't do anything. That's my whole point.
He releases
the fucking Hulk. He releases the Hulk. He kills Coulson, and then he gets bodied like constantly.
Quotability.
He gets the scientist to open the portal.
He destroys the shield base.
He destroys the shield base.
He kills people at that shield base. A whole shield base. He kills people.
I don't see anyone die though. No one important dies. Nothing happens. No one important. No one that is set up in the movie dies, so you don't feel it as if he's done anything that significant. Everyone survives that. It's like fucking Nick Fury.
Everyone does not survive.
The woman who's underneath the woman from How I Met Your Mother. She survives even though she's a non-character. All of the characters, like from least to. Yeah, okay. They don't raise any stakes in these movies. There's no stake in the Avengers. Because,
I got him. You're done.
You're not even giving me examples, and I have so many examples. What Loki does in this movie.
The generic villain.
He's not a generic
villain.
That's what he does.
Steaks. Yeah. Prime rib New York top sirloin steaks. You were talking about steaks? You need steaks, Nerdman? Superman literally is alive at the end of the movie. His fucking dirt rises and he comes back in the next movie. No steaks. Yeah. Lex didn't kill Superman.
He murders he murders the senator. That senator is set up so that we care
about
her.
Who the fuck is she?
He murders the African woman, right?
Who is she? All less than Coulson.
It doesn't matter that he's not matter. I'm saying,
but you said Coulson doesn't matter.
No, you said that
Loki doesn't even kill. So he didn't kill. He didn't kill anyone that wasn't important. What I'm saying is, speaking characters that you actually care that you actually
Nah, they care about
during the movie as fucking characters, not secondary extras in the background who are faceless, nameless
I don't care
people.
about the senator.
In Batman v Superman,
No.
Lex Luthor constantly threatens or kills people that at least you might not have cared about them. I cared about June. I thought she was a nice lady. I thought she was she seemed like a very
lady?
yeah, I think she seemed like
she wasn't a nice lady.
I know how to wrestle a pig.
Exactly.
Yeah, and she just because she's from Kentucky. I mean, like, no, I don't like her.
Oh,
she seemed like a genuine. She seemed like a genuine person who wanted to do good in the world, and he snuffed her out. The African woman, I cared about her as well. I cared about her as well.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
you lost all credibility.
Wow.
You care about the African woman who you can't even tell me her name.
Who
was paid.
You're going to say she's better than Phil Coulson as a side character.
She
the only person that Lex Luthor killed that I felt sorry for was Beverly.
He killed.
Other than that, I didn't care.
He killed Coulson.
You said you didn't care about Coulson, but you care about her. So, you're saying you care more about her than Coulson.
Well, she was a better performance and better, everything.
That's insane. She's in one scene.
I'm talking about June. I was talking about June.
Okay, good.
I'm dead. Bury me.
So you need people to die in slow motion for it to be good. You need Superman to get stabbed through the heart like Jesus and put his arms out. That's not going to happen in the MCU. They're fundamentally different movies. You're not going to see bloodshed. You're not going to see people getting stabbed. It's different, but Loki served his purpose better than Lex Luthor did.
Plus, Loki is the guy that works behind.
There's a reason he's iconic. Quotable.
You asked me who does Loki kill? You said Coulson, right?
Yes.
Coulson dies. Doesn't even really die, but okay, fair enough. He dies supposedly. He has a couple of scenes in that movie. I did not find him a memorable or interesting performance at all. I found June, who was the senator, I did find her performance way better. I'm sorry, and I cared about her. I thought she was a nice politician who had the best of interests of the country at heart. And she was in it. I don't care. You can all turn your back against me. Fuck you. I will not be bullied. I will not be bullied by you MCU freaks. Okay? And I'm gonna give you a compliment afterwards.
You killed me, Nerdman.
I'm gonna give you a compliment afterwards. She was a better character in that movie than Coulson was in the Avengers.
Killed me.
And the African woman was. I cared enough about her and her story that when she got killed and how she got killed, the gruesomeness of how she got killed as well made Lex Luthor a much more serious, fucking threatening.
What did you like about her?
Villain.
What did you like about the African woman? What were her character qualities that made you like her?
He was killing innocent fucking people, essentially bystanders.
So did Loki, motherfucker, in the first scene.
Can you listen to me? Can you listen to me? Can you listen to me here?
No, I can't. You're lying about
I'm not lying. I'm not lying.
You're lying about Loki. He does kill people.
Hear my lie and then disprove my lie. Because you're fucking lying now. Okay. Here's what I'm saying. Actual characters from the film, right, who were speaking characters, it was actually played by a big name like actress, this June character, right? This was an actual starring character. One of the main characters in the film was killed by Lex Luthor. He then killed the African woman.
Main character?
He killed the African woman. He even killed Jimmy Olsen.
She's a tertiary character.
He pushes Lois Lane off of a fucking building. Now, all of these people were unarmed, for the most part, women, right? He even kills his own secretary as well, by the way. Or unarmed women. Coulson was actually in a physical combat situation with Loki. So he had a reason to fucking snuff him out, right? He killed a person who is he's like a soldier or a CIA person. It is not as fucking villainous and terrifying as pushing a woman, like just some woman that you've paid to lie for you, into a fucking train. I'm sorry.
He didn't push her.
He killed him in a combat.
He never got his hands dirty.
Situation. Anyone
it's
else
not
that
as
he
good.
killed, anyone else that he
exactly.
killed is off fucking screen. It is not people that we care about. It is extras. That's the point.
Dude,
and that's why Lex Luthor seems more villainous.
Who cares about the woman, the African woman who goes in front of Senate and lies? And
all right, answer my question, Ashley. Answer my question. What is a more villainous act? Pushing that woman in front of a train or killing somebody you're in a gun battle with?
I'll tell you which one.
He wasn't in a
getting
gun
your
battle.
hands
Bill
dirty.
Colson's back was turned and he stuck him in the back. Okay.
Yeah, that's because he was about to shoot him.
Lex doesn't get his hands dirty. It's not as good. It's not as rich. Patrick Bateman is fucking evil because he murders people with his hands. Loki kills people. He breaks people's backs, breaks their neck, stabs them, shoots them, eviscerates them. Lex gets everyone else to do it. It's not as compelling.
And he controls them. He manipulates them. He's literally controlling people in this film to do his
throws
mentally.
With his
Nerdman.
With his little staff.
Yeah.
How does Lex Luthor control people? How does Lex Luthor controls people with his fucking mind?
He controls people because Chris Terrio is such an intellectual. Chris Terrio is so smart with the script.
Not only did Loki kill Coulson, he killed him, stepped over him, turned around, looked at Thor, and smirked.
And you want to give me throwing people off a building? Loki, you say he throws Lois off the building? Fuck that. Loki throws Tony out the building and gives us that awesome fucking suit up moment. Loki does things that leads to incredible hero moments. Lex doesn't. Period. He is better with the heroes as a villain in the movie. He is iconic. He is quotable, and his acting is good. I'm done with you. I'm done with this.
Okay, I want to address one thing as well that you said. Okay, so we'll finish this part. I will say, I think, going after unarmed women and and killing them in gruesome fucking ways, plus all of the other people he killed in the situations that he did, was far more sinister, at least on paper, than what Loki did. But all right, fine. I'll grant you whatever you want. You can believe what you want, I'll believe what I want. The thing that you were saying about the chemistry that Tom Hiddleston had with all of these different Avengers, in my opinion, it was them who was putting the good. Like Robert Downey Jr. was pretty much the great person in that scene.
No,
like he was the one that I remember.
What Loki says
all right,
I'm not
going to finish.
And then his response. I'm sorry.
Let me just finish. Let me just finish this.
Because you go off on tangents and you say 10 things, and then I can't go back to the one point.
No, but we all do that. We all do that. Okay, and I know, and I am sorry for doing that. I do apologize. All right, Lex Luthor has to hold up a scene with a wooden piece of shit Superman in Henry Cavill, which everybody tries to fucking laud as if he's the fucking greatest fucking Superman of all time, and he has to prop up this scene and animate it and make it fucking good. They gave Superman absolutely nothing to say in the scenes, so there was zero chemistry that he could build with this fucking character, and yet the helipad scene is still a fucking good scene because of Jesse Eisenberg. So again, and because of the writing of his Lex Luthor. So again, the fault is not on Jesse Eisenberg or Lex Luthor. It's in the fact that they created a completely, totally shit Superman for him to be the opponent with. This was not the inverse character. This was not the character that is, like an arch nemesis to this guy. At all. This was just a wooden plank of fucking wood. So that's my point about that. So Ashley, sorry.
She's mute.
Ashley, when you're ready, you can say if anyone else wants to respond, and then
in that scene when Superman gets like angry and his eyes glow. That's a good moment for Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not all Henry Cavill's fault. It's not all Henry Cavill's fault, but he's given
the last part of what you said, please.
All I was saying is that Pickle was talking about the chemistry Tom Hiddleston had with the rest of the characters, and I was saying that most of the time those characters were holding up those scenes rather than Loki necessarily. I found what Iron Man was saying far more interesting to Loki than what Loki was saying to Iron Man. But anyway, they both did fine in the scene. Well, my point was Lex Luthor was handicapped in this situation by a Superman who is a plank of wood with no fucking personality or even fucking dialogue or lines to be able to counter, so that they're having a back and forth with each other to build that kind of chemistry. And yet still the helipad scene with Lex Luthor, because of Jesse Eisenberg and the dialogue of that scene, is actually very, very good. So that was my point.
I have one final thing to say. I'm done.
And then we're gonna leave this because
I want you to just real quickly address and defend the Jolly Rancher scene. Okay. That's my mic drop.
See, that's what I'm saying. We're moving on, and you wonder why I interrupt you.
I didn't say anything. I said, Ashley, please speak, and you philosophical pickle off.
No, I'm just go ahead.
I'll remember the Jolly. I'll remember the Jolly Rancher thing, please.
We'll go because I'll use mine for my closing. I'll just
the Jolly Rancher thing is a stupid scene. It's a stupid thing that he does, and it actually ruins what at first was a quite good scene where he's manipulating the senator. I like that bit where he's like basically goes. I can't remember the exact words, but he says something where he just asks something, and the senator responds to him in a way that he's asking the question, but Lex Luthor takes that as him affirming, what his request was, and it was a really good moment. And then he puts the Jolly Ranchers in, and it's fucking stupid.
So you will admit that there are a couple moments like that, maybe 3 or 4 that are kind of really bad.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I don't think
there's not one single scene in the Avengers where Loki is cringy. Loki wins.
That's not no because the heights of Luthor are better. But anyway, Ashley, please do and JG.
But JG, go ahead. I'll go last.
This has been great. You guys have done fantastic, by the way. So,
Nerdman, again, you have brought me to the cusp of becoming an MCU fan now, because why, Nerdman? Why? I'm trying to be your brother. I'm trying to be your friend, but you're pushing me to that dark side to the right of me right now. I'm sorry. Do you, in this whole debate, if you want to call it that, you have yet to prove really that Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor is a better villain than Loki? You have yet to prove it. Nigel Pickle, there's not really one scene you could take from Loki, anything he's done in the MCU, that I can look at him like, I don't like it. I love it. Every time he's on screen, I love it. I love it.
Would you agree he's a darker, more sinister villain?
Well, it's a darker movie. Of course he's going to be a darker, sinister villain. But when you look at the brutality of Loki, he's fleshed out. He has motivations. He's a villain who works in the background. He's behind the scenes. He's manipulative. And to me, I'm going to say something blasphemous to you. His motivations, his ability to manipulate people was more Lex Luthor than Jesse Eisenberg. I'm sorry. I got to say it.
I don't see how you can say that. I can't see how you
see how you said it after she said for an hour and 17 minutes. But hey, it is what it is.
But look. Carry on, JG. Carry on. Sorry, it's my thing. Go on.
Yeah, but Lex Luthor did have some great scenes in BvS, right? The red capes are coming. I did like that scene. I didn't like the piss part, but other than that, it was cool. The painting, when you see he flips the painting over towards the end, brilliant. I loved it. The helipad scene was great, but it just none of it makes sense in the end goal, right? Because
let me ask all three of you a question while you're doing this, because I want to bring up this piss thing. Why is the piss thing bad, in your opinion? Why is it bad? What makes it a crappy thing that he did?
What was the point of it?
It's just it's what, like you said, like over bloated. It's one of those elements where I think they just went a little too far. They thought they were being too smart, and it came off just laughable. Seeing a villain, Lex Luthor, who we're supposed to take seriously, who's about to murder people, dozens of people, put a jar of his piss and say this is Granny's sweet tea, is just cringy. It's just it's that
Why was that
intangible
needed?
cringe.
What was the point?
I don't know. It's intangible. I can't explain why. It just sends chills down your spine. You don't want to see a villain piss in a jar and give it to somebody.
Wait.
Dude, when I saw that scene, I'm like, dude,
wait.
do you ever drink water in your life? Damn, why is it that damn cold? Oh my god.
Let me ask this then as a follow-up question. Are you supposed to like the things that a villain does? Aren't you supposed to be disgusted?
No.
Aren't you supposed to be disgusted by what?
Isn't that what they're doing? We get it. Like, what's the point? What is the point of the piss in the jar?
To humiliate her.
Maybe Patrick Bateman would do that. Maybe Hannibal Lecter would do that. I don't believe that Lex Luthor would do that.
Why
I don't believe this Lex Luthor would do that.
He's an arrogant little shit, and she said something to him that kept in his mind, and he was like, "Okay, you know, you can confuse a bucket of piss with Granny's peach tea or whatever," and he was just going, "Okay, here's a circle. I'm gonna humiliate you before you die, so you know it was fucking me."
It seemed like an SNL skit.
That was
like
the whole point of it.
She would have a jar of piss. I just didn't fit. But, I don't think in the movie.
Again,
I get
are you
in concept
to like what a villain does,
but Nerdman, no. This is the problem with the whole movie. I love the concept of the movie on paper. The Martha scene is great in concept. The whole plot is great in concept, but it's just on screen. They just didn't perform it correctly. Mm-hmm. And if anybody, I know Mads, she likes this movie, doesn't she? You know, you can like this movie and like Lex Luthor. I'm sorry we're shitting on somebody that you guys love, but Lex Luthor is terrible in this movie.
Like,
and she made a great point. And I will literally be done after this because we got to go to
we've got to go to the other one.
She made a great point about swinging for the fences. Earlier, you were saying that Loki's kind of safe and Lex Luthor, his heights are more intellectual. Guess what? I would rather hit a single or a double than swing for the fences and strike out. And that's what Lex Luthor does.
I don't understand you when you talk about baseball.
Sports. I understand. That means he would rather succeed on
get a base
level
hit, a small base hit,
and not accomplish anything. Basically.
Yeah. Hit for average or power. Loki hits for average. You hit for power. Guess what? This time you struck out.
Okay. That was great, guys, by the way. I'm not gonna look again. I was gonna play this scene of Lex Luthor, but I will say in terms of his motivations, I think they make sense to me psychologically. They psychologically track with somebody who has narcissistic personality disorder. You guys can look it up, but we have to go to the next stream. Does anyone want to say their final words on this before I say my final word?
I would just say that in overall, Loki is a character. Yes, he did have Thor, to fall back on. But I feel that within BvS, they could have explained Lex Luthor more. I feel that the choices him as an actor that he made, the moment, and like I've told you before, the moment when I was done with this Lex Luthor is when he puts that freaking Jolly Rancher in that man's mouth. To me, that is not Lex Luthor. That it made no sense. It was just like, look how outlandish I can be. And it was at times he seems slightly autistic, but then at other moments he just seemed like, I'm picking with you, but why are we putting Jolly Ranchers in people's mouths? A lot of it just didn't make sense overall. And I know that's a small thing, but to me, it was just a mess. It was his plan was a mess. I mean, the character is overall just crazy, a mess. Loki, however, like I said before, you understand Loki. It's a very simple. Yes, it's simple.
A very simple.
And sometimes simple works. Sometimes
but
simple works.
I don't think it necessarily worked in that. But I'll say something. It works. I'll say something that you mentioned.
I'm not done. Okay. When it comes to Thor, like I said, it's very simple. He has this discourse with his brother. His brother's job is to protect Earth, to watch over Earth. He comes to Earth. He makes a deal with Thanos to destroy Earth, right? And then along the way, he interacts with these heroes. His plan was to get captured. He gets captured. Part of that plan was to cause these issues, to make them second guess themselves, to divide and to conquer. He does that, right? Mm-hmm. He kills Phil Coulson. that is, I mean, that was one of the grandest things he did, but that was also his biggest misstep, because once he does that, once he killed Phil Coulson, he brought this team together. And part of a villain's job is to make the heroes better. And Loki makes these heroes better by the fact that he kills Phil Coulson. So just that alone, just that moment alone, makes him a better villain than Lex Luthor. All right. He makes the heroes better. He makes these heroes better. And part of the job of the villain is either to succeed and to win.
Which is what Lex Luthor did.
He doesn't, no.
Okay.
To win,
but anyway, go on.
To win or to make these heroes better. And that, my simple point is, that is the basic reason that why Loki is better than Lex Luthor.
I want to give one thing, because you reminded me of something that I completely forgot, and it's a very important thing.
You say something.
I'm going to say this quickly. Do you think that somebody with a high IQ, with an incredibly high IQ, always has to do intelligent things? Or is it the case that somebody with a high IQ can do anything that they want to do, whether it be a stupid thing or a destructive thing, or something that, is almost on the verge of madness, right? But they can do it better than somebody who hasn't got a high IQ. So, i.e., let me give you an example. The Unabomber. This is an incredibly intelligent, and in terms of somebody with a IQ, he's like an incredibly intelligent person who was a mechanical whiz. He could create all these bombs and devices and do it in intricate ways so that the FBI couldn't track him. But what he was actually doing was pathetic and stupid, and would only lead to his own self-destruction and misery. Mm-hmm. That is what I see this Lex Luthor as being. And that is what makes him a great and more realistic villain, because he's actually doing something.
Yeah, he's a human being.
Self-destructive, flawed, almost to some degree moronic. But because of his IQ, he's able to do that with a much better, he's able to have a much better ability to put all the plans and bits together in order to achieve this ridiculous fucking aim, which ultimately would lead to his self-destruction and downfall.
But to be moronical, right? But we see Loki do very similar things. Yes, he's a god, but he is so focused on his disdain, his jealousy for his brother, that along the way he makes his own missteps throughout this story. They're both hyper intelligent, and one's a human and one's a god. Okay, right. So I believe that this Lex Luthor is this hyper intelligent person, and then he's just being an idiot. But the only difference is, I feel that you have to have these moments where the villain, their pure intellect, if they're this intellectual villain, right, that they succeed on some level that I you understand it. Loki does the same thing. He's a moron at points. He's fueled by his hate and his disdain and his jealousy for his own brother, and that gets in the way of him, even, right? Even when we think about that moment with Iron Man, and he says, "What do I have to fear?" Right? And what he doesn't realize is, by killing Phil Coulson, by doing these things, he's united these people, and he's got his brother, he's got all these people against him willing to fight him. And that, to me, in essence, is what makes Loki a better villain. He is menacing throughout this movie. Yes, we get a different Loki down the line, and I don't agree with some things that we just found out, but that doesn't take away what he did in the Avengers in that film. Okay. So that's my final point. And
I had my final point now.
Then I'm gonna have to.
No, I had my final point. I'm gonna let JG and then Phil Pickle have their final point, and I'm done.
Okay, I want to quote a movie, one of the great movies in the Batman trilogy. Some men aren't looking for anything logical like money. They can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. Some men just want to watch the world burn. Right? You know who's the best villain?
Lex Luthor.
Know who's the best villain? Me, damn it, because Lex Luthor is a much better villain than Loki. Screw the MCU. DC for life. There we go.
Flip-flopper. I'm not surprised. He's a flip-flopper.
I'm not a flip-flopper.
Ashley, it's okay.
There was always Lex Luthor. I was always for Lex Luthor. I just had to go against Nerdman for once. So.
Wow.
I did a good job, though. I did a good job.
We're gonna,
minute,
wow.
My last word is
you ain't shit for that, Shaolin.
An ant has no quarrel with a boot.
Exactly.
Are you planning to step on us?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's all you got to say.
This was great.
I've got to say, this was fantastic. You did such a fucking good. You did such a good job. I was really on the ropes there. I'll say this. I did do this mainly because of the Loki TV show coming out. And I do have a lot of respect for Loki in the Avengers. I think he's a perfectly good villain for what the film needed. So I still like Lex a little bit more for my own personal reasons, but I would say possibly objectively, when you put everything with the performance and whatever and all the things that went wrong in that movie, that you could say that effectively Loki worked better in the movie. So I'll admit that. Apart from that, though, we are moving over to Phil Pickle's channel for another hot take. And of course, Ashley, what were you saying?
Tonight, Wednesday, June 9th. If you're 3 a.m. gang, you can watch it tonight. We will be talking about it somewhere. We will let you know. Loki happens tonight on Disney Plus. Are you going to watch it? Because we're going to watch it and we're going to talk about it and we're going to discuss it. Don't forget to watch Loki.
Fantastic. JG, thanks, man. That was what do they call it in wrestling? Like a swerve? That was the best swerve of all time on Hot Takes Tuesday. Right at the end, JG Shaolin. Right when I needed you in the debate.
I'll get you for that, Shaolin. Don't forget, Shaolin.
I'm just showcasing my talents, everybody. I am the Loki of YouTube, everybody.
I wanted to just show this. Nerdman, while Loki's smart and powerful, I would rather go up against him than Lex Luthor. Wow, okay, I didn't know he was going to say that. Lex Luthor has a crazy determination and willpower that allowed him to defeat and to fight the Justice League. Wow, okay.
Terrence and Shaolin are breaking my heart right now.
I still love
Nerdman. Loki's biggest weakness is when you show him his own arrogance, he tends to doubt himself. Wanting to be accepted is also a huge weakness, but I like Loki. There you go.
I don't think that's actually true in the Avengers. I think that's true later down the line. But we were specifically talking about Avengers versus BvS. Terrence.
All right. Well, I was going to read this one last one. No matter what happens to me, I must stay strong. Humans will never break me or get me weak. Being mentally strong is very important, especially when it comes to villains. So there we go. That's T-Virus's pearl of wisdom for the day. Take that with you. Please do me a favor. Give me a high five. Smash the like button. Of course, subscribe to all these lovely ladies and gentlemen. And comment. We love the comment. Yeah.
Come to my channel in 20 minutes. We're doing this again.
Yep, exactly. Comments. We love the comments, and we'll respond. Keep the debate going in the comment section. I think
make sure you have your notifications turned on, so when Hot Takes Tuesday goes live, drop something, you will be notified. Like, share, subscribe, and notifications are turned on.
Yeah. And I think that would be it, really. So what do we say? See you on the flip side. I love you 3000. Peace.